Hi there, I'm Brian Blotto, and I want to talk about three cultural aspects that shaped my educational journey. So, first things first, there's a stereotype that Latinos are always very and super family oriented, and that we're always tied to our community. And to be honest, that's an example of ascribed status. But, it makes sense because culture is learned. I grew up around a lot of my family and a lot of community and togetherness. But stereotypes like these can also lead to a lot of prejudice. Like people just automatically assuming that I'm lazy or non-independent. And, in school and an educational setting, I felt like that I've completely had to prove that I can handle everything on my own. And that made me more aware of assumptions and how that can affect communication. Another part of my culture that I absolutely connect with is the hospitality and generosity part of it. A lot of Latinos grow up being taught that we have to welcome people, offer food, help out, stuff like that in our community with our friends, family, even students. And this ties into something called collectivism, which is basically caring about, the entire group as much as one singular person. In school, that shows up a lot with how, I help classmates, we work together, and just create an overall safe and calm environment when we're doing group projects. But then there's something about me that kinda doesn't really fit with most of my culture, and that is being individualistic. I'm very individualistic. I like to do my own thing, set my own goals, sometimes work on my own, set my own projects, and it's made me realize that a lot of people in the same culture aren't exactly the same. And that's part of cultural competence. Being able to work respectfully with different people from so many different backgrounds without assuming that they fit a certain stereotype or mold. Even if a client shares my culture in the future, I know their experiences won't be as identical as to mine. So yeah, those are the three cultural aspects that shape my educational journey. The stereotypes that people put on me, the generosity that I grew up with, and the individualism that kind of sets me apart and makes me who I am. Understanding my own culture helps me show up as more of a culturally competent future clinician, and that's what I hope for when I become a speech-language pathologist.